Hello, hello, hello everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful day. This adorable gnome coffee poster is so easy, and I guarantee it's gonna warm you up and bring a big smile to your face. Here's my recipe. You can pause here to gather what you need, or just refer to the list in the description area below this video. So get all your goodies together, and let's go make the magic happen as we paint with a passion. I'm painting on an 8x6" primed pressboard. Let's start by adding a horizontal dividing line down the center. Next, let's add a vertical dividing line across the center. And now, let's add a line above and below the center vertical line. And let's add some marks for the edges of the coffee mug opening. The best way I found to draw an oval is to lightly sketch it on and go around and around using your whole arm to guide your pencil, and then just clean it up. Another option would be to just cut out an oval shape and then trace around it. Next, let's draw on the sides of our mug and the handle. I've angled the mug so it's slightly higher on the right side, and this will give the illusion that we're looking down at it. And let's also make sure we do the same angle for the handle. Next, let's divide our background. Let's add markers across the top, evenly spaced. And you can add as many or as few as you like. And then let's line those markers up with the center point at the bottom of the canvas and connect the dividing lines. And I want my handle to be a little beefier. I'm going to paint over this, but I want to pencil in the inner coffee area to make sure I have the angles right before we begin painting. I'm going to paint the lighter background color first, and I'm using a small angled brush for this. I chose Periwinkle and sea glass for my background, and then gray for my mug. I don't really paint this fast, so don't feel rushed, just take your time. Next, let's paint the second background color. And don't worry if the colors overlap just a little bit, because we're going to add dividing lines between the two colors. And now, let's go ahead and paint in our mug. You can use any colors you like for this, and if you're going to hang this in your kitchen or your office, you can choose colors that match your decor. You could also choose someone's favorite colors and then give this as a gift. Let's get out our chalk pencils and add our gnome and our coffee outlines. Let's start with a big nose right in the center. And then let's add a ring for the mug opening where the coffee's going to be. And Mr. Gnome needs a hat. And of course, he also needs some mittens. He's a very thirsty gnome. Let's outline the hat with a fine lining brush. And I'm using Cranberry wine for the outline, and then I'm going to blend in some bright red for the center. I'm using Geranium red to fill it in, but it looks like we can see right through the red. Now, sometimes reds and some of the other colors like pinks and oranges, they're really transparent. So what I'm going to do here is go ahead and paint the hat gray first, then I'll go back over it with the red, and the gray is going to make the red be more opaque. Okay, see? This is much better. Now the red is no longer transparent. It's crazy, right? Now while the red is still wet, let's add a thin line of black along the bottom of the hat. And then let's blend that line using a small sponge or a blending brush. And here's a close-up look using a sponge and then also using a blending brush. Get some red on the sponge and then add a little black line. And then notice how the sponge has red on one half and black on the other. You want to keep the paint colors on the sponge aligned with the paint colors on the canvas. And then just tap, shifting just a tiny bit back and forth, blending them together. And using the blending brush, it's very similar, but I find that it helps to keep blotting the brush in between your dabs every so often so the paint on your brush doesn't get too murky. And let's also blend the dark wine edges into the brighter red center. Wow, this looks great. Okay, so I reshaped my mug opening a little bit. So it's more like a football with one edge that's a little flatter than the other. And then I added a rim line. And let's go ahead and paint in the coffee. I'm using burnt umber and a 1/2 inch angled brush for this. I'm definitely going to need a second coat of paint for the mug and also a second coat on the background. So here's the thing. I tried a few coffee toppers, and spoiler alert, before you begin to paint the coffee topper, you might want to take a look at the 3 different toppers I'm going to show you, and then you can decide which design you like best. So I went with the hearts first, and I really like it, but I don't really drink lattes. So I decided to paint back over it. So while the coffee's drying, let's paint in Mr. Gnome's nose. So here's where I've decided to go with a cream swirl. And you just use a very small amount of paint on the tip of the brush and lightly wisp the paint around the coffee in a circular motion. I'm going to be using custom super skinny fine lining brushes for all of the outlining. And I've made multiple brushes and they vary in thickness, and this one happens to be the thickest one. Make sure that you paint back over where you left off when you need to reload your brush, and this will ensure that you have a nice clean junction. Let's go ahead and paint the background's dividing lines. I put a link in the description area if you'd like to make your own super skinny brush. It's really easy, and it's better than any brush that I've come across in the stores. So about that cream swirl, I liked it, but I just wasn't feeling it. So I painted back over the coffee, and this time I know exactly what I want to do. Let's draw a wavy line across the coffee and then paint it in with a light tan and a light cream. And I'm using light Mocha and Buttermilk for this. Now, using our small dotting tools and then the coffee color, let's add some random dots. And these dots don't need to be perfect, and actually they're going to look better if they're not uniform and perfect. And let's add a light reflection to Mr. Gnome's nose and light reflections to each of the bubbles. My bubbles reflections are going to be added as if the light source is to the left, coming from above the cup. Now, I added some sponge shading to the mug, but it didn't give me the right light reflection effect, so let's just pretend that that never happened and moving right along. So let's add some markers for light reflections on the mug, and also let's draw back on Mr. Gnome's mittens. An easy way to figure out where to place your light reflections is go get a mug and set it under a light at the same angle as your painted mug, and then take a picture of it without the flash. Now take a look and see where the light is reflecting, and that's where you want to place your marks. Okay, let's paint the mittens. I'm using the same colors that I did on the hat, and my first coat is going to be the dark red. And while the mittens are drying, let's go ahead and paint on the light reflections. And I'm using my skinniest skinny brush for this. And let's add a coat of bright red to the mittens. And I'm leaving the outer edge dark so they look like they've been outlined. Let's add some markers and then go ahead and add our lettering. All right, it's time to outline everything. First, the nose, and once again, I'm using my skinniest skinny brush for this. And now let's do the big lettering, and I'm switching to my thicker skinny brush. And now I'm going to switch back to my skinniest skinny brush and touch up the outline of the mug and outline the coffee, and I'm also going to paint in the small lettering. And just a quick note, I'm going to remove the white highlight at the bottom left of the mug before we varnish because it just didn't look right. I don't think the light would be hitting it quite that low. Okay, before we varnish, let's make sure all the paint is dry, and also let's check to make sure there aren't any visible pencil marks. I'm using some Duraclear and a roller for this. I really like the way the varnish comes out when it's rolled, so I try to use this method whenever I can. And here we have it, folks. I like big cups and I cannot lie. Very big cups of coffee, and of course adorable gnomes. It just doesn't get any better than this, right? Thank you all for joining me today, and a warm welcome to all of my new subscribers. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you next time to Paint with a Passion. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. I wish you peace, love, and happiness now and always. Bye!